Hello, and welcome to another very delayed episode of Stunder Stories. Before we dive into it and explain why we're delayed, and what's been happening the last 3 weeks, nearly 4.
I think it's 4 actually.
Nearly 4 weeks of our lives. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the video, turn on your notifications so that you know when we're uploading, and also never forget what's slowly becoming our catchphrase. Likes equal hectares. Subscribers equal hectares. The bigger this channel grows, the more hectares we can grow and the more stories that we'll most likely have. Thinking back to when we were still living on a farm and every week something happened, especially when you have cattle. So, as soon as you've done all that, let's get into the video. Thank you very much for joining us, and I'm really sorry that it was late. We did record 2 weeks ago and get ready to update. I sat down to edit the video, put in the recording of us talking, and well, this happened. So as you can see, no audio recorded. Literally just me standing there waving my hands as I do, and Stacy smiling at me, as I hope she always does when I'm not looking. So it has been a very exciting 4 weeks. The month has been absolutely crazy. Work's been going really well for myself, Stacy as well. I think we've both been enjoying it. You might hear the rain start to fall. Hopefully that doesn't get too loud.
Yeah.
We're under a tin roof. It has also been a really nice rainy week this past week.
Oh yeah, I mean, we've had so much rain, and as you can see, like behind us, it's like green, and the grass, we gotta catch up with the cutting. But yeah, I mean, we went to the farm yesterday and enjoyed just the water holes.
The water holes are like, the one is completely full.
Yeah.
I think this morning we had a lot of rain, so this morning was a different one filled up completely. Now there's just like one more water hole that needs to completely fill up on the farm, and they have full water reserves.
Yeah,
which is absolutely
will cover
awesome.
the winter for water.
Yeah,
and
which
turn
you
no
get,
water.
yeah, because in winter not as much rain. So, very exciting purchases. We've got a lawnmower, which is really cool, and that's massive because this property has a lot of grass, as you may have seen from some of our starting out videos, and when we moved here, when we started renting, and yeah. But the major thing of this week is your likes are starting to equal hectares.
Yeah.
So you might see in the background behind us, far away back there, there's a compost pile that we have started to build. We are starting a garden. We're going to kind of be turning the one whole section, and Stacey will explain a bit more about it in a second, into a garden. We just have to put a fence up because we own 2 terrorists that like to dig holes. And you may be wondering why it is that we can put an entire fence up, create a compost pile, and kind of start tearing apart and remodeling a garden, a garden and a house that we're renting. And that brings me to exciting news number 2. We have officially bought this house. This property is all ours.
Yes.
It is 2,500 square meters of property, which is absolutely insane. For those who want a different number, that's a quarter of a hectare of land, I think, if my math is correct. That's a quarter of a hectare of land. With the house, you've seen it in our tour. If you haven't, go back a few videos. We gave a house tour. It's a modestly sized house. It's not exactly like, wow.
It's perfect for cleaning. I don't have to clean the whole day. I just clean like for an hour and I'm done.
It sometimes doesn't even take an hour. Like, if you're not detail oriented, aka if you're a guy, it's like a 10-minute clean and you're done. So, but all in all, we would never have been able to have this in South Africa. So we've been really blessed here in Paraguay with the work, the help people have given us, the fact that I was able to get a job as well.
And you officially got your job.
And I'm officially. There was a while because of like some government paperwork requirements where I was like half hired, but not really hired. I couldn't sign the paperwork with
the contract.
Like my contract, because I needed a different document. But to get that document, I had to register to vote. We kind of explained this in our like Over the Hills and Everywhere, all of our driving. That was our last video. So that document was kind of holding up everything.
Yeah.
We still don't have that, by the way. So that could take until December for me to actually be put into that system, the electoral system. Which means until December I can't do anything. We're still working on ways to see if that is true or if we can kind of get around that, because we need that paper before like June. we need that paper. So we're really hoping for that. So that's been the exciting news. I've officially signed my contract. The company kind of made an exception for me, the store, that I could sign on as an official employee without this paper. The paper basically proves I don't have massive amounts of debt. So we kind of reasoned and said, well, how could I have massive amounts of debt? I've owned an ID in this country for 3 months now, 2 months.
By the time that you got hired or that you started, it was only about a month.
Yeah, I'd only had my ID for a month when I started working, and also without that paper, I can't open an account to make debt.
Yeah,
so
no,
how could
there's no bank here in Paraguay that would allow him to open a bank account without that paper.
They kind of went, you know what, you're right. So they've given me my job, which is really, really great. Officially given me my job. So anyways, back into your likes equaling hectares. Stacey's going to explain a little bit about the farming method, why we started with the compost pile before the garden, and just explain to you a little bit of like what we want to do with the garden, like the process that's going to happen, and we will be showing you guys along the way. So take it away. She's an expert on this stuff.
Not really, not an expert. When I was back in 2019, when I was in South Africa, no, 2018 actually, I had this opportunity to go on a 3-day course on it's the kind of method they're using is called Farming God's Way, and it's basically taking us back to the roots, to the wild, where it's like, you know, when you look in the bush or in like somewhere where people haven't really done anything, what happens is that the leaves and the branches and green leaves and dry leaves and animal manure gets dropped on the ground, and it kind of creates layers, and that then creates very nutritious soil for all the, can I say, like all the plants to grow, the vegetation to grow properly. So that's basically what this Farming God's Way style is all about, where you go and you create a garden that is, you're not destroying the ground, you're not like interrupting what is already in the ground, but you're adding to the ground, you're adding the nutrients and organic matter to the ground, so it like kind of gives it that extra push. And that is why we also started with the compost pile, because the compost pile is in layers of like you get your sticks and dry material.
Like a woody layer?
Yeah, your woody layer, which is like sticks or cardboard boxes. I try to like kind of mix them up a little bit because, yeah, just boxes is like it feels like concrete if you add it to a pile. So you add like a layer of sticks and cardboard box, and then you add a layer of dry material, which in our case was hay from the farm. So we actually borrowed my parents' bucky, and we got a whole load of dry material, which is hay that they fed to the animals, but like animals,
they plenty of hay around.
Yeah, and they also waste a lot, and they will like tear it out of the hay ball, and then they poop on it and they pee on it. So there was extra manure for us and manure in there for us. So yeah, and then we took that and we created a layer of that. Then on top of that, we added a layer of green material, like grass cuttings. Jonah was busy all day the other day cutting grass.
Really good excuse to finally cut the grass and use my new toy, the lawnmower.
Yes.
So that was really cool. I mean, you can see behind us, a lot of the ground has been cut. Some spots are very tricky because of tree branches being too low. We've got the dogs fighting under us and playing. And other spots, because there's so many sticks on the ground, we can't go with the lawnmower just yet. So we're still working on cutting. And also, like I said, 1/4 of a hectare is a lot. Even with a pushing lawnmower. So it does take a bit of time.
Yeah, and then all that grass, and you can add leaves or whatever is green. You can even add like thin sticks. It doesn't have to be like just leaves. It can be sticks as well, but they shouldn't be too thick. Then on top of that, we added a layer of chicken, pork, and what was the other one? Cow manure that we had gathered at my parents' farm.
They also have plenty of that right around.
Yeah, so they've got chickens, they've got pigs, they've got cows, so we just grab a few sacks full of that and you put it on top. And you just kind of continue layering until you reach about 1.5 meters to 2 meters, and you make it in a square. So our compost pile, I think, is about 1.5 meters like in a square, but we didn't manage to build it all the way because we only had 2 Saturday afternoons that we worked on the compost piles. It didn't reach the ideal height, but we've been turning it because you have to turn it for 9 days. You turn it every 3 days, so we've been turning it.
I think we've got one more turn to do on our 3-day turn cycle.
Yeah, because we added, so the one Saturday we built and then we didn't get far enough, so the next Saturday we added another layer, and that kind of has to go into the same routine. And it's looking very good. It smells, but it's looking very good.
After the 3 days, after you turn every 3 days?
You turn every 10 days for I think 3 times, and then you just leave it to sit, and magic happens in that pile that you don't know of, and you get worms and you get all these nice good bacteria that is creating very nutritious compost for like your garden that you can then use. Then in the garden part, which is also right there by a compost pile, there where we want to put the fence up, we're going to cut down the grass all the way to like the soil, to the roots, and then add a layer of, we're still debating. I don't think you can hear me.
I think we're going to do a quick cut. We're going to make sure that you guys can hear us, and then we'll be right back. Hello, welcome back. Sorry about that. The rain just got really intense out of nowhere, which is good because we need the rain.
I know it stopped as well.
Yeah. Side note, our house, literally we only have well water. So we have I say well, it's like a man-made well, a tank, essentially. And that's our water source for the house. We have a municipal connection, but that dam is not full enough, so that's pretty much off most of the time. So we need the rain almost as much as the farm does, otherwise we run out of water. So that's just your random side note. But anyways, Stacy's gonna continue. We just have to move inside because here we had a ceiling, so the roof stops the sound a lot better than out there. So yeah. Keep going.
So I was about to tell you about the layers in the garden. Where we cut down the grass and so on. So there's different methods on how you can do it organically. What we were told, or we were taught, is that you don't want to interrupt the garden or the soil as much as possible. That you don't want to do that. You don't want to interrupt it anyway. And so what you do is you put layers of organic matter on top. And then once that decomposes far enough, you can make holes where you want to plant, or you can make a furrow where you want to plant. But then the rest of the garden you just let to rest. And then the next year you rotate, you just do a different layer so that the other part can rest. So so we will probably look at, because of the jobs that we do, we get a lot of boxes, carton boxes. So that one we can use as well in the garden, which helps to kind of create a layer where there's no light coming through to the roots, which then means that those kind of die off.
The weeds, that's to kill the weeds, the grass, the dogs are playing, you probably heard. The little one's got some thunder in his voice. So that kills off weeds and grass, basically the plants you don't want growing in that time. So.
You put a layer of cardboard box, manure, and some grass on top, and you just let it sit for a few months, and then
Grass on top?
Like hay.
Oh, hay.
Hay grass. Grass hay.
Sounds like you're planting.
No. And so that just sits there to rest. And then once the cardboard box starts to decompose, you can then make furrows and holes where you want to plant. So my dream is to have vegetable garden with a lot of flowers, because the whole reason to add flowers to your vegetable garden is to attract pollinators who then pollinate your plants, and it's just
and also certain flowers actually have properties that help to keep away the pests. So
you get marigolds.
Attracts good bugs but repels the ones that damage your plants, which is really cool.
Yeah, so that is what we're going to do in the garden, and I'm very excited because I love it. I just hope that I have enough time to keep up with it.
And another one of the big things with farming God's way is that it's to try and do it as natural as possible. As Stacey was saying, to not disturb the natural way that nature does its thing. So it's trying to avoid using pesticides, poisons,
digging up the whole ground.
Digging up the ground. So you don't till isn't the correct word, I think. It might be till, but you don't turn the soil. A lot of gardens you turn the soil, and way they explained it was kind of like, well, all the oxygenated soil is on top.
Yeah.
It's the soil with air that you want, because that's what's full of the nutrients and oxygen. And then you turn it, bury that soil, and then now you've killed all the oxygen and you've brought up all the unhealthy dead soil. So there's a lot of those kind of ideas behind it. There's a lot more to this bioscience. I think Farming God's Way does have a website.
Yeah.
That if you are interested, go online, just Google it, I'm sure you'll find it, Farming God's Way. If I can find the link myself, I will try to put it in the description to this video, so you can go and give their website a look, find out some more about what they do, because it was really cool. I know in Port Elizabeth / Gqeberha, my hometown, there was a really big Farming God's Way garden.
I think it's still happening. Yeah.
It's still happening. So, that's right, unless something really crazy has happened in the last 8 months since we left South Africa. But really big, amazing thing, and it was right next to a really beautiful coffee shop. It was right next to Grass Roof for anyone who's in Gqeberha. So go and give it a look. There's a really beautiful garden there. That garden is done Farming God's Way style.
Yeah.
So actually, Grass Roof gets a lot of their veggies and stuff from there, grown naturally as much as possible without using pesticides and poisons. So that's really, really cool. And that is the update on the house. We bought the house. It's ours, which is really exciting. We're not
Finally, you can drill holes when we
Finally, we can do things without asking a whole bunch of permissions, except for obviously major projects where you need like governmental permissions. But even that out here, I don't think is much of a massive issue. So we're really excited, and we're really looking forward to showing you guys the process as this garden grows and develops. Like we say, it takes like 2 months just to get the compost done, and obviously it'll take a long time for the soil or the grass and the weeds to die once we've covered it up. This coming week we'll be putting the fence up. Stacey's parents are going to come and help out, which is really, really cool. We're looking forward to some time with them. And yeah, that's it.
We have started some plants. We have some, what is it called? Like
some fruit trees.
Orange tree that we planted. I planted some other tree, but then the dogs kind of killed off the...
Smokey likes to get inside crates.
Yes.
If he sees a crate, he wants access, and he doesn't want the plant inside the crate. He just wants to be in, and unfortunately because of his size, the plant is a victim of this.
And Jack likes shooting nets and anything I put on top of it to hold it down. And then we planted some papaya trees and some cherry trees as well, which are very nicely growing. Yeah. And so once they're big enough and they're bearing fruit, we will be showing you as well. I know those cherry trees, they're native to South America, and they're one of the, what is it called, like wild fruits that have most of the vitamin C.
The most
nutrients, yeah. And so I'm very much looking forward to harvesting those.
So we'll also show you as those grow over the next few months. We'll like keep you guys updated how the trees are doing. I don't know if you can hear it, but the rain's come back full force again. And that's it. That's the really exciting month we've had. We've taken out the loan. We've paid for the house. We're starting to build this garden. It's a lot of hard work. I planted 2 poles to build the compost pile, and my hand already had blisters. City boy hands.
We've got 10 more poles to go.
We've got 10 more to go, and then fencing to put up. That hopefully will keep the dogs out. I think I'm going to cry if the dogs get through that fence.
Yeah.
But if you haven't done already, like the video, subscribe, turn your notifications. We really hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in hopefully 2 weeks if we have no audio problems with the next recording. Bye for now. Ciao.